اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. Before we start, Brother Mahdi mentioned something interesting about the hadith that we talked about last week. The one of the rights of the Imam alayhi salam on us is he as a teacher, because teacher has a lot of rights on the learner. And then I mentioned the hadith from Amir al-Mu'minin, man allamani harfan faqad sayyarani abda, who teaches me a word, he has made me a servant of him. Some people, they have the confusion of, oh, how come someone I remember, actually, let me say that I was, I don't know, surely a teen when I heard that hadith first, and I was like, wow, such a rude person who dares to go and teach Amir al-Mu'minin. So beside my childishness, like being childish and this think about that hadith that way, but that's a very common question that comes to mind. One point that I think will help a lot in different places as well, I want to mention, which is mentioned about Quran, but this is a general conversation rule, which you see, for example, in Quran, there are a lot of khitab, talking to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a harsh way. Why did you do that? You made a mistake, even something like that. غفر الله لك لما أذنت لهم. May Allah forgive you. Why did you do that? And so forth, which causes the misconception of infallibility being jeopardized. And almost all Sunnis and even some of the Shias, they misunderstand this, the whole concept. One of the golden keys that Ahlul Bayt have given us, which helps us understand these verses as well as some of these ahadith, is the one beautiful golden statement. This is a little bit side note, but I think this helps a lot in every religious subject and discussion that you may attend, or verses of Quran. Anyway, Quran has been revealed with one rule. نزل قرآن or أنزل قرآن على إياك أعني واسمع يا جاره. Quran has been revealed. Let me say this first. Give an example. For example, you're a father or mother, and you have some guests, and their kids start being annoying and writing on the paper wall and go crazy. For some reason, you don't want to yell at them, right? So for your kid, you yell at your kid. Mustafa, why you are doing this? Don't write on, don't paint this, don't tear this, blah, blah, blah. Poor Mustafa didn't do anything. He was innocent. He's looking, what? Because you're talking to him, but you want others to hear or overhear you. This is a rule in Arabic called إياك أعني واسمع يا جاره. I'm talking to you, but oh neighbor, you hear that. In Farsi, we have the same rule. I think everywhere we have it, but I don't know if we have that name for it in English. Do we? Of course. In Farsi, we say به در میگن دیوار بشنوه. Like we talk to the door so the wall hears it. So that's the golden rule. Remember that, and that's it. I move on, but I just wanted to mention this because, as I said, this is a key to a lot of challenges in understanding Quran and some of the narrations. So, yeah, I think that's enough for now, but we can talk about it more. Yes, sir.
Is that like a rule that the imams taught their companions, or?
No, this is I would say this is a general conversational rule. But maybe a reminder that Imam says that, remember, this is something that you use even in your daily life. And Quran, this is a key that Allah talks to Prophet. And there are higher level of meaning and discussion in that, which we don't want to talk too much about it, but I give you just one hint. Prophet is worthy of being the audience of Allah. So, yeah. And again, in English, I have heard, I mean, use it all the time. You know what? You wouldn't do that. But when you are talking with someone, you say you wouldn't go there. You don't do that. That guy didn't do anything and he didn't think about it. But you say that. So this is a very normal rule. But again, the Imam alayhi salam gave us the hint and reminder. And again, I like it as a golden key. Solves a lot of problems, especially in the topic of infallibility, because we have a lot of verses about our Prophet that Quran talks to Prophet directly, address Prophet directly, but not in a expected language that we expect, right? So with that, let's move on. We have a lot to cover, inshallah, and then we inshallah we'll have some discussions down the road. So we talked about part 1, 2, and 3 of the book of Mikyal, which was in the volume 1, and now we switch to part 6, and then Salamun alaikum. And then, inshallah, we take it from Salamun alaikum. So, don't be scared. I try to, so this pamphlet or booklet is kind of an overview of the Mikyal, so a kind of summary. But even I made another summary of this because I didn't want to this session be overwhelming, right? In general, before we get to the details of discussions, there are 2 general topics and concepts that are discussed here. One is the in general highlighted times and situations for prayers. Let me say something here, it's important. The hadith says, which I believe is from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Inna fi ayyam dahrikum nafahat, ala fata'arradu." Be aware that during your time or lifetime, there are moments that there is a, I don't know, breeze, right? Special, beautiful breeze. Don't make sure you don't miss it. Ala fata'arradu. Times are not the same. Like different times of the day, different times of the year are not the same. All the locations are not the same. So, and we know it in general. So we know that, for example, the eve of Friday Eve is highly recommended for the prayers, for the dua, for asking for repentance. Month of Ramadan, everyone knows that is special. The places, Masjid al-Haram, prayer in that has a big factor, right? That will be multiplied by that. So that's number 1. Number 2, we will see, inshallah, as we go in this chapter, there are a lot of, which is surprising. I put that as a final note, takeaways. How much emphasis is on the prayer for the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam in different times, different locations, different states, situations. When we mean situation and states, is like in Qunoot, in Sajda, by other Imams. Before even Imam Mahdi alayhi salam was born, many du'as from Imam Sadiq, Imam Kadhim, Imam Hadi, Amir al-Mu'mineen, back and forth, left and right, Imam Rida alayhi salam, which I know, again, as an actionable takeaway, we may not do all of those, of course, but at least it gives us the reminder that how important it is and how much it is overlooked by us, right? So keep that in mind. As I said, skipped a lot of entries, so you can go to the Mikyal and read it yourself. But I try to first give a big overview. So this is the general overview of this, actually part 6 and 7. So they are mixed. How Sahib Mikyal, the author, put that together. Times and states, days of supplication, situations for supplication, places for supplication, and etiquettes of supplication. So we go over them. That's the general roadmap for our probably this week and next week. But before we go to details, again, there is a very critical reminder, which especially we have a great youth audience here. I want to emphasize on that. And this is another golden rule. قليل تدوم عليه أرجى من كثير مملول منه. Don't get super excited by a lecture or by a class or by reading and say, oh, I will do half of these every day. And you do it 2 weeks and then you get bored and you leave it altogether. That's bad. The hadith says, a little that you commit to, which I try to put at the end takeaways. Imam says, whoever recites اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم after Fajr prayer and Zuhr prayer, he will not die till he meets Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Simple. Okay, I'm lazy. This is something I picked since many years ago, and I say, okay, I can't do all of those, but let me do that. This is simple. First of all, that will force me not to miss Fajr prayer, fall asleep. And second of all, the Salawat with Wa'ajil Farajahum doesn't kill anyone, doesn't stop you from your work, from your fun, from your, you name it, phone and all. Just say Salawat and move. So let's keep that in mind also as a, first of all, precaution, reminder more. I just want to make it as we said in session 1, to be practical, not just reading and moving on. Oh, a lot of times that we should do dua for Imam. That has been mentioned in the ahadith. Move on. Next week, forget everything. No. So with that, let's go to the discussions. First of all, after daily prayers, this is one of the times that the dua is accepted. We have a hadith that the Imam alayhi salam says, in my word, as a reward of prayer, after each wajib prayer, maktubah, there is a reward of da'watun mustajabah, an accepted dua. So this is granted. Allah gave you the opportunity that you can pray. So based on the discussions we had in past 4 sessions, what would be better than dedicating and reserving that dua for the Imam of our time, considering all those things that we talked about, the rights he has on us, the necessity and what our love to the Imam alayhi salam tells us, to pray for him first before anyone else. And we have that reminder in the phrase of Ziyarah Jami' Kabira. وَمُقَدِّمُكُمْ أَمَامَ طَلِبَتِي. O Imams of Ahlul Bayt, I put you first before any of my personal requests. وَإِرَادَتِي فِي كُلِّ وَإِرَادَةِ. Whatever I want, whatever need I have, first I put you as a priority. One beautiful story came to my mind. Let me mention it. Again, these are all connected to being a passionate, to the love. Have you heard the story of Uwais? When Uwais Qarani was, I would say, one of the ashab of Prophet, even though Sunnis don't like that, the condition is not you met Prophet or not. The condition is being the follower of Prophet, being the companion of the Prophet, regardless of you met or not. They call him Tabi'i. I'll call him Sahabi, right? Anyway, so one day there was an announcement. Prophet said, "Oh people, I was told that your people, they are granted one da'watan mustajabah. Whatever they ask, Allah gives them." And they were like, okay, guaranteed, like 100%. Yes, 100%. And everyone started asking for prayer. Oh Allah, I need a garden, I need a wife, I need a husband, I need kid, I need car. camel. I need this, I need that, because that was granted, right? I can hear that. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Awalaw kana Uwais." You did your prayer. I wish Uwais was here. Time passed. Uwais Qarani came to Medina after the death of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and someone like, "Oh, by the way, years ago we remember this happened." And Uwais said, "Okay, what did you pray for?" So of course we prayed for our needs, because I needed this, I needed Apple charger, I needed that, I needed something else. I asked Allah to grant me that. So friends online, someone needed. So anyway, Uwais said, "Seriously? That's what you prayed for?" They said, "Okay, what would you be praying for if you were here?" He said, "I would ask Allah, oh Allah, do not take this prophet from us ever. Let us be with him eternity. Just keep him with us forever. I would think about prophet first. I would pray for him first. My heart has the love for him." So having that in mind, remember, when we have the da'watun mustajaba, a reward after our prayers, to whom we want to dedicate and reserve that dua for. So with that, we move on to other. So that's in general. Any daily, any wajib, any maktuba prayer, there is a accepted dua with that. So it's good in general to dedicate that to Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Remember, we are talking about the times and states about the dua, right? So then we have daily prayers. So there are, like, I mean the 5-time prayers that we do on a daily basis. There are a lot of, which is surprising, du'as mentioned by Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam about Imam Mahdi after daily prayers in general, not specific prayers. That's another category. Whenever you did your daily prayer, do this. So there is a dua by Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Again, all of these you can see in the Mikyal, and we don't want to read them. However, for those that are more interested and want to learn more, the content of those duas are amazing as well. You will be surprised. That's not a generic Allahumma ajjal li waliyika al-faraj type of prayer. Any of those dua gave perspective, or from another point of view, talked about Imam Mahdi and praying for him, right? And mentioning some of his characteristics, which that can be topic for lectures and discussions on its own. Like Mikyal can be discussed from that perspective. We will see like all the qunoots of Ahlul Bayt that they mentioned Imam Mahdi in their dua. What are the contents? How they talked about him. So we move forward. There is another dua by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam about the, oh Allah, make the Faraj ala Muhammad earlier and hasten that. Another topic, general topic, is the specific prayers. We have specific guidance of the dua for the Imam alayhi salam. After Dhuhr prayer, the one that I mentioned. So whoever says this, let's remember that and remind ourselves, اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم, which I called it a complete salawat. First of all, let's make the commitment. Whenever we recite a salawat, make it this way. Don't stop by وآل محمد. وعجل فرجهم is like a cherry on the top. And there's another dua which is short. I mentioned it. Again, that can be an actionable for those that are more interested. It starts with the phrase "Ay sami'a kull sawt." Oh Allah, the one who hears everything. And then it's short, it's not long. And then Imam alayhi, who is praying? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is praying and saying after Salat al-Dhuhr, say this. And then وعينك في عبادك وحجتك على خلقك. Again, some of the and also there is a in that dua. Again, for me, the contents are interesting. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam prays for the companions of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Oh Allah, strengthen them. Oh Allah, give them patience. Oh Allah, waftah lahum min ladunka sultanan nasira. Open the gates for them so they will be winners. Which, huh? Chat? No, that's why we have you, brother. Yes. So that was the note on the dua, on the salawat. The dua that I mentioned by Imam Sadiq about Imam Mahdi, there is a continuation for that, which is important. The narrator who heard Imam Sadiq after his Dhuhr prayer, he did this dua. He was shocked, right? Who are you praying for? Right? So let me ask you this question. Those that they have heard that yesterday from me, don't answer. Everyone, who is the light of Ahlul Bayt? Like the Nur al Muhammad. Friends online in the chat. Among Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, as you know, everyone, they have a special title, right? Nur al Muhammad, the light, the shiny light of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Yeah. Cheating here is allowed because that would be cheating from a hadith. So that's encouraged. So the narrator said, I saw Imam Sadiq alayhi salam did his Dhuhr prayer and then he did this dua, praying for someone. And I said, oh Imam, did you pray for yourself? Have you not prayed for yourself? Imam said, no, I prayed for the Nur al Muhammad, for the light of al Muhammad. Sa'iquhum. I skipped that. And the avenger of their enemies by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then I asked, oh, that's you're praying for him? How come? And then when he will come, Imam said, when he, in his, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, when Allah wants this to happen. So there's another dua, which is after Salat al-Asr. Narrated by Imam Kazim alayhi salam, which again, I picked that because it's followed by a question from the narrator as well, which shows us at least one of the benefits that the dua of the Imam was before his birth, that it raised awareness among the companions. They saw that the Imams, they were praying for someone. Besides that, dua has the effect. That can be another topic for discussion. What is the effect of the dua before someone being born? Any thought on that? Let's have a quick discussion on that. What does that mean? Let's be honest. What does that mean that Imam Sadiq, Imam Kazim, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they prayed for Imam Mahdi. Is there any effect on that dua, or this is just symbolic?
I mean, there has to be an effect. They don't just do things out of them.
Okay, but don't give me naqdi jawab. Just give me halli jawab. Yes. So they had to pray so the Imam will be born? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Any other thought in the chat, friends online? Not only it has effects, but in case on non-fallible, it had effects. Yes. Ahsan. Very good point. Like Allame Majlisi, which I think I know what he's referring to, but yes.
I'm remembering, I think it was last session or 2 sessions ago, when you say why we should pray for Imam Mahdi is because he'll pray for us in return. So maybe out of that.
So the Imam Sadiq did that for Imam Mahdi,
But
pray for him.
doesn't need that. But like just like the guy who says, Allahumma barik Mawla al-Hussein.
Yes.
He doesn't need that, but he still said thank you, gave him the land.
But Imam Mahdi is not born.
I know, but they know he's coming.
Okay. And by the way,
Special status.
if we have the class in this room, there should be a clock there, right? Because I don't want to exceed time and I don't want to check my phones, right?
I got you.
But we should go back to that room. That's more cozy. Any other thought? No, you like it better? Exactly. A lot of people don't like it here. Yes.
It makes them like know what they should avoid and like what they should avoid.
Yes. Very good. It has a effect for that person. I simply refer to the verse of Quran that, oh yes, Sister Shabana, you want to talk? Yes, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
I thought maybe it shows the importance, like all the imams from the first to the last, they all were waiting for the imam. So maybe, you know, that could be one of the reasons to show us like how they were also waiting for Faraj. So maybe that's the reason.
Yes, that's also another wisdom and benefit, and also teaching us how to pray for the Imam alayhi salam. But first, I want to say that dua has the effect. Why? Can you give us an example so we can accept it easily? Yes. What do we pray in Quran? Don't you pray for your kids, brother? You are not married yet, right? But you pray, as long as I know you are not married. So we say, Allah, وَهَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. Oh Allah, give me a good descendant. Give me good kids. Oh Allah, I pray for my kids that they are not born. I pray for my offspring. And is that dua useless or symbolic? No, it has meaning. It has effect. So keep that in mind. Besides all the good points that everyone shared, that showed the importance of it. As I said, that's to me is shocking and interesting. All of the imams, they prayed for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So what would be my duty? If Imam Sadiq is praying this much about Imam Mahdi, what is my duty? Anyway, back to the topic. When Imam Kazim alayhi salam, the seventh Imam, after his Asr prayer, prayed for Imam Mahdi, the narrator said, again, for whom was this prayer? And Imam explained, that was for Mahdi al Muhammad, may my father be sacrificed for him. And then he's the one who will pray days and nights and will come and لا يأخذه في الله لومة لائم. And he is مصباح المصباح في الدجى. So he's the light in darkness. As I said, like the Imams educate. So let's.
It's another example of Yakani was because he wanted the companion to ask him.
Again, yes and no, because those dua were not symbolic only. But as I said, yes, it showed as a byproduct, as a consequence, people ask, who are you praying for? And the Imam explained. But thank you, Faisal. You did a very important job. But my point is, it's not symbolic. We have another hadith that some of the close companions of Imam Sadiq, one day they entered his house and they saw him sitting on, he was crying, he was weeping. And it's a long story. So my point is, he was in private doing that. And when they asked him, he said, I read in the Kitab al-Jaf and I saw what happens to my grandson Mahdi and to his companions and his occultation and ghaiba, hardships that he will go through. That caused me crying and weeping here. Besides, on the day of Ashura, when all the angels were complaining, they were shown the light of Imam. Yes. And saying, Ahsan, that's a very good point. Oh, I missed the first part. Additionally, their light maybe could be translated as reality was created 1,000 years before. Yes. But among the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is a special light, because in that hadith that you referred to on the day of Ashura, when the angels saw the lights of the Imam, they saw Imam Mahdi uniquely bold among them. So the next Fajr prayer, again, I make it quick. I don't want this to be boring and exhausting. There's a famous dua, اللهم بلغ مولاي صاحب الزمان, is short after Fajr, and where is Muhammad? Said we use dot a lot. So you see in the book a lot of different times and du'as for after each daily prayer. Next is sajda. Seriously, I need time. Oh, 1:11:05. So yes, please. Thank you. Sajda is by itself is one of the closest states that a servant has with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That itself is a great topic, how important it is that we have a narration that says if a servant knew the blessings he is receiving while in prostration, he will never ever raise from the sajda. That's the closest moment. Again, that reminds us, if the whole point is when we are in the best mood of spirituality and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who we will think about first? Who will we dedicate our dua and reserve our dua for? Myself, others, close friends, family, which are all good, but you know what it means. Remember the story of Uwais. So in Sajda, we have also a lot of prayers, which again I skip. But as a reminder, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, in the story that lady Hakima narrates, when he was born, immediately after his birth, he went to the Sajda and then he prayed for also his reappearance. That Allahumma anjiz li ma wa'adtani. Something like that. The phrase I may paraphrase, but in those lines. Okay, so let's move on. Is that okay? I mean, are we on with good pace? I don't want to get stuck with some of the du'as.
Again, all these are in the book, right?
All of these are in the book. Again, I have double summarized. Like it was summarized in my booklet first, and then even for this class, I re-summarized and picked the main ones or those that I thought might be beneficial, again, content-wise as well. So the fourth chapter or topic, every morning and night, there are a lot of du'as for every morning and night that is recommended, and the content and the subject is about Imam Mahdi, or during the prayer and supplication, there is a mention of it. What is the most famous dua that at least among us is very famous for every morning about Imam Mahdi? Dua al-Ahd, yes. Which is highly recommended. Allahumma rabban nur al-azim wa rabbal kursi al-rafi', which again, I forgot actually to put it in the takeaways, but if you can memorize or read it, the benefit of that, because specifically in the dua mentions that a lot, is Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said, whoever recites these 40 days in a row, if he dies before the coming of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, he will be revived in the concept that we have as Raj'ah, Ahsan, that very good people and very bad people will be revived when Imam Mahdi comes, which is another topic. So with that, I want to go to another topic, reminding about Dua al-Ahd, the Qunoot. Qunoot is Qunoot. Before we go to the du'as that we have from a lot of, I mean, almost all of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in their Qunoots, I wanted to remind ourselves about the importance of Qunoot, which I think I have observed that is, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, is not taken that seriously among our community. I'm not blaming anyone or accusing anyone. But when we are in rush, first thing we cut is Qunoot, if we do it in the first place. And I think that's, you know, sometimes you can do reverse engineering. The thing that Shaitan, alayhi la'na, attacks the most has the most effect. So that's why he targets the most important thing. That Qunut is mustahab, skip it. Okay. Bottom, and nothing wrong with that. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not skipping my prayer, blah, blah, blah. Isn't Qunut mustahab? It is mustahab. So skip it. Okay. So let's remind ourselves, would be another takeaway about the importance of Qunut. Qunut is the moment that you are whispering with God. You are so close to the point that when you read the ahadith in the topic of Qunut, you will be amazed, and sometimes you may see some contradiction, because one companion asked Imam, what should I recite in the Qunut? And Imam gives him something. And the other one asked, Imam said, do whatever comes to on your tongue. Qunut, as if you know, if not, as a reminder, you can pray in any language, basically in your own words, whatever you are comfortable with. I didn't bring those ahadith, but if you go, there's a chapter, I think in Kitab al-Kafi, I should have it up. I was reading it. So yeah, in Bab al-Qunut fil Farida wa Nafila, Matahu wa ma yujza fi. So that's a chapter in Kitab al-Kafi that Imam alayhi salam gives the time of the Qunut, like there are hadith, fiqh hadith about when it is before in the second rak'ah, but the importance of it. We, as I said, unfortunately don't pay enough attention to the Qunut, and maybe because we think it's mustahab, so skip it, which I think that's definitely a whisper of shaitan. And also maybe, I don't know, we don't have dua to say, or we think that it should be Arabic. I have not memorized. Qunut, you can say it in any language. Just, I picked two hadith only, just to, as a reminder, wake up call, whatever. Man taraka al-qunut raghbatan anhu fala salata lahu. Imam says, and that's why, anyway, let's not say that. That's would be too much burden. Whoever skip qunut raghbatan an, because of not like emergency or acceptable excuse, he didn't want to. I don't feel like it. Okay. Fala salat lah. It's as if he has not prayed. So it shows the importance of the qunut. And the second one is from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, if I'm not mistaken, in a context that the guy says, what if I forget? Which I put another highlight. Again, that also shows the importance of it. Do you know, if you forget your qunut, what can you do? Bless you. If you forget your qunut, give sadaqah? Huh? No, it's not that hard. If in your prayer you forgot, maybe you were not doing it, and now after this class you want to do it more, and then as your habit, you go to ruku. In ruku you remember, oh, I forgot qunut. After you stand up from your ruku, you can do the qunut, but don't do the ruku again, because that will mess up your prayer, and go directly to sajda. Yes, if you forgot your qunut and you went to ruku, after you stood up, you can do qunut and go to sajda. And if you forgot that, after prayer, when you finish, before you go check your phone, you do the qunut. Again, all of these shows the importance of the qunut that the Imam and the Ahlul Bayt. And this one is the second one. That's the context that I gave. The guy asked Imam, what if someone forgot? Imam gave him, like, do it whatever you remember, blah, blah, blah. But Imam gives a statement here which is important. إِنِّي لَأَكْرَهُ لِلرَّجُلِ أَنْ يَرْغَبَ عَنْ سُنَّةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. I hate that people don't care about the precedent of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was something that Prophet was committed to and liked it, because again, this is the moment that you and Allah talk in a free style. How about that, right? So having said that, any question in the chat? Okay. Now See, that's why we have a lot of special prayers about in the Qunoot. At least again for importance and show the significance. Marhum Sayyid ibn Tawus, in one of his dua book, I think in Muhajjud Da'awat, he narrates a long narration, which is very interesting. I was amazed when I read the hadith, the context, how it reached him. He had the booklets that all the qunoots of Ahlul Bayt were mentioned it, at least the ones that people heard and they recorded it, which he brings, like qunut of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen and Prophet, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, all the way. And Marhum Sahib Mikyal, he has gone through those, picked the ones that has the dua for Imam Mahdi and brought it here, which is a very interesting. We talked about his competency at the beginning, the first session, when we talked about the author, Marhum Muhammad Taghi Isfahani. So, yeah, among those, which again is a lot, at least skim through it. At least the benefit of that is how we should feel bad that, oh my God, how much we are missing. That's something I say. I know I'm not doing it, but let me read it so I don't be arrogant that, oh Allah, why you don't send me thank you letter? Why you don't send me angels and revelation? Why? Because I didn't miss my Fajr for a month. Bro, just go check how much we are missing on a daily basis. Our arrogance will be broken, right? So at least for that, if we read, which is, I mean, I don't know in the English version how many pages, but I think more than 10, 20 pages are these qunoots of Ahlul Bayt that refers to the Imam Mahdi. That's why it came to the Kitab al-Mikyal, but it's longer. Among those, I wanted to mention one, which inshallah, if we can commit to, it is important and a good takeaway. Imam Rida alayhi salam Imam asked one of his companions, what do you say in your qunut? أي شيء تقولون في قنوت الصلاة في صلاة الجمعة? I said in your Jum'ah prayer, which in some of the hadith says in the Dhuhr prayer of Friday. But anyway, I said, ما يقول الناس? Whatever people, means Sunnis, like people, they say, I also say. Imam says, no, لا تقول كما يقولون. This is amazing. Imam Rida alayhi salam telling one of his companions, what do you pray in your qunut of Dhuhr, in Jum'ah? I said, whatever everyone says. Imam said, no, don't say that. Rather, say this. So let's recite this together. I put it in full. And then the translation is next page, which has beautiful content. اللهم أصلح عبدك وخليفتك بما أصلحت به أنبياءك ورسلك وحفه بملائكتك وأيده بروح القدس من عندك واسلكه من بين يديه ومن خلفه رصدا يحفظونه من كل سوء وأبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا ولا تجعل لأحد من خلقك على وليك سلطانا وأذن له في جهاد عدوك وعدوه واجعلني من أنصاره إنك على كل شيء قدير. A volunteer, please read the English translation online, in person. Al-Musa, go ahead, loud and clear.
O Allah, reform the conditions of your servant and caliph with those means by which you have reformed conditions of your messengers and prophets. Surround him with angels and support him with the Holy Spirit. Appoint protectors from the front and behind him, those who would guard him from all troubles and calamities. Convert his unsafety and fear into security. He worships only you and does not associate anybody with you. Do not make any of your creatures an authority over your vicegerent. Permit him to fight against your enemies and his enemies, and include me among his helpers. Surely you possess power over everything.
Isn't that this dua amazing? So this is the qunut that Imam Rida alayhi salam taught one of his companions to do in the Dhuhr prayer on Fridays. Again, it doesn't limit it to that time, but it's, as some of you know, sometimes we start our sessions with this dua, because this dua, we can, this is again my thought, we can call it dua faraj, because a common mistake, we call the dua Allahumma kun li walik as dua faraj, which technically that's for health and safety and protection of the Imam alayhi salam. But this dua is for the time of zuhur and asking Allah to hasten that. So, and make us among his companions. All right. As I said, there are beautiful other qunoots that you can see in the Kitab of Mikyal, that the Imams alayhimus salam, they, I encourage everyone, at least read it once, the English or Arabic if you are more comfortable, how the tone is different. It's very close, friendly, sometimes complaining, asking Allah. Let me mention one of them. This is, by the way, there are some qunut prayers of the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam himself. إن الغاية عندنا قد تناهت وإنا لغضبك غاضبون وإنا على نصر الحق متعاصبون. Oh Allah, not like accusing, complaining, but like we are angry with your anger as well, that we see the haqq is weakened, and we are waiting for the awaited Imam. This is another one by Imam Jawad. And again, for being short, I don't want to go to all these details, but again, I encourage everyone to go and read, and that was the purpose of this class and this discussion group. So with that, I want to pause before we go to the takeaways. Any comment, any question, anyone who read the book has anything to
Can I write Hashia to your book, Doctor?
Of course.
So just a few things that came to my mind. I mean, first, maybe that's maybe in that part of the presentation. One of the du'as, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, I want every Shia to do it after every prayer, to get like with one hand, hold his chin and say, Ya Rabbi Muhammad, Ajal Faraja ala Muhammad. It's 3 verses, and you have to read it 3 times. It's again, it's one of them that's after all the wajib prayers. That's one thing that came to my mind. And then when you were talking about qunut, another thing that came to my mind was that you know, like part of the problem in the resurrection day is it's just waiting. I mean, the wait itself, it's killing. So there is a hadith that says whoever has do the qunut longest, they're gonna wait least. So even if from that perspective, it's something beneficial. And then when you initially started that, you said in every salawat you say Va'ajil Farajam to the end of it. So there is a nice story, which I think there's also, I mean, that's maybe self-serving, but anyway. So here's the thing. So Allah, so maybe a few people, or a lot of people, hopefully, or everyone knows them in this class, who wrote yes, what's that?
Al-Ghadir.
Yes, Al-Ghadir, Sahab Al-Ghadir, which, you know, I don't know, you know that or not. One of the volumes is not still published; it's unpublished because of how severe, or like, not, I don't know how much it reveals the enemy side of it, and then anyway. So one of the volumes is not published, but anyway. So I'm just saying. So whatever we do, we don't know it's going to be accepted or not. But in his case, from different sources, we know that his actions, specifically his book, was accepted. One big, not an example, but the famous one is that they saw him, people saw him after his death, like in the dreams and everything. One of the famous ones is that everyone was coming to the Hawd al-Kawthar, and with Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and he was giving everyone, I don't know, a cup of or a glass of the water. And then when he was walking, he just put his hand in the water, was just as he was throwing the water towards him. Like, he's just such a good person. But what I was going to say that, so he is someone, we know that his actions and these are accepted. And that's very important, because I think knowing something is accepted is something you can rely on. So he said, anyone who says after his salawat, we're going to share whatever I get from the Al-Ghadir, whatever it is, which we don't know what it is, I'm going to share it with that person. So from a self-serving standpoint, if you just do that, you're going to be sharing with someone who is promised that, and he has an accepted action, which is accepted by Imam. So that's what you need, I guess. That's the only thing you need. So if you do that, he said he's going to share the reward from his book with whoever says that. So again, from a self-serving standpoint, it's a good thing to do it because he's going to share it with you.
Yes, thanks a lot for these great reminders. So the Allama Amini's story is really beautiful, because sometimes people are like, okay, he spent all the time about Al-Ghadir, which is very, very, very significant. They think that he didn't pay attention too much about Imam Mahdi. No, that's not the case. So that's the story, at least for you, if you are a good trader in a business world, when someone is freely, without any charge, sharing his profit with you, jump on it, right? But again, let's not do that. That's not cool. That's not how we should treat our Imam alayhi salam. We talked a lot about it last week. The importance and why we would do that. So with that, any other comments? Yeah, I think we go to I could put a lot of content, but I personally thought that would be exhausting and I don't want to do that. So we may just stop here, going quickly reviewing the takeaways. I may send this separately in the chat. So two things. One, we see among all these discussions and knowing about the du'as and supplications that Imams of Ahlul Bayt they had about Imam Mahdi tells us the significance of this, that Imam alayhi salam is the light of Ahlul Bayt. And a lot of time we don't appreciate the fact that we are honored to be the people of that Imam, the community of that Imam, the ummah of that Imam who is the light of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And that's why the awaited one, the promised one, we are in his time and era. And the previous Imams alayhimus salam, they prayed for him, shows its significance. But practical notes, as I called it, I put 5, but again, up to you. You can add to it, or I don't know, stick through it, but whatever. First, let's commit to the complete salawat, which is salawat followed by the dua for the hastening of reappearance of Imam alayhi salam. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. And also specifically about after Salat al-Fajr and Zuhr prayer. That's very highly recommended. The prayer of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam after Zuhr prayer, ay sami'a kulli sawt, ay jami'a kulli fawt, I think that's how it continues. A reminder for all of us about the significance of Qunoot. Let's take it more serious in general. Let's not skip it just because it's not wajib. Let's use that opportunity to talk to Allah in any language that we feel comfortable, and specifically dedicate that to praying for the Imam of our time first and foremost, and pray for him. And also one highly recommended dua that might be new for all of us is the dua اللهم أصلح, which I mentioned, taught by Imam Rida alayhi salam for when? For what time?
After
Friday Zuhr prayer. Qunoot is for Qunoot in general, but we can recite it anytime, which is a very beautiful dua. So with that, I want to stop here today's session. So we will continue with this. You saw the main map, right, or overview, roadmap. Okay, yeah. So we finished this. Okay, but give me feedback. Like, is the same pace and style good? Because you saw, like, we can go to a lot of details, but I may pick and then we quickly go over. So continue if you have not finished, or if you have not done it, just part 6 and 7 of Mikyal, which is in the volume 2, the beginning of volume 2. You have access to the file and all. And then inshallah, with that, we will continue next week, which next week, for friends that are in person, happens where? Exactly. So I wanted to be proactive. So the poll that I sent in the group, the channel, was for June 18th. Okay, not today. And people are like, oh, we are not used to that much of planning. When you ask a poll, it seems that it's for next week. And a lot of people last night, they were texting, oh, tomorrow is at Shah Najaf, Imam al-Asr. I said, no, don't go there. We will go there on the 18th. And again, if you have not voted, just vote. I think 99% will be at Etzal Road, inshallah, with the good brunch. I've tried their Dua Nudba breakfast, which is amazing. And by the way, as a side note, Dua Nudba, Imam al-Asr Masjid, they have it now on a weekly basis, Friday morning, sharp, like truly sharp, 7:30, which is really good. If you come late, definitely you will miss Dua Ahd. And then they start with Dua Ahd and then Dua Nudba at the Fairfax location, Braddock Road and 286.
12-2-1-2.
Yeah, 12-212 Braddock Road, Dua Nudba. Anyway, but the class will not be at that location. Will be at Etzal Road. I confuse everyone. Is it? Did I talk Chinese? They have 2 locations. One is Etzal Road. One is in Fairfax. Anyway, we'll send the note. So next week we'll be here as we planned. It was 7 weeks here, 7 weeks at Imam al-Asr Masjid. Any comments? Any question? All right. So, 11:31. So let's recite the dua. If everyone agrees as a practice, let's pray the dua, Allahumma Aslih, before we finish. Let me put it on for those that may not have it memorized. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم أصلح عبدك وخليفتك بما أصلحت به أنبياءك ورسلك وحفه بملائكتك وأيده بروح القدس من عندك واسلكه من بين يديه ومن خلفه رصدا يحفظونه من كل سوء وأبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا ولا تجعل لأحد من خلقك على وليك سلطانا وأذن له في جهاد عدوك وعدوه واجعلني من أنصاره إنك على كل شيء قدير برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن أعداءهم أجمعين.